had always been waiting. For someone new. For me. The history of Raventon was written in its decay, in the crumbling facades, in the dust motes dancing in slivers of weak light. Each generation of Raventons had added a layer, not of joy, but of suffering. They said the founder, Josiah Raventon, was a cruel man. He dabbled in things best left unknown, things that whispered back from the shadows. He built the manor on unhallowed ground, or so the legends claimed. He sought power. He found only a lasting curse, a legacy of pain for all his descendants. Locals spoke of screams, faint carried on the night wind, screams that had no source, or a source too terrible to name. They told tales of figures seen in the highest windows, pale faces, watching, always watching. Children dared each other to approach the rusted gates. Few ever did. Those who did returned changed, quieter, their eyes reflecting a sliver of the manor's deep-seated fear. The soil itself felt tainted. Flowers refused to bloom near its walls. Only thorny, grasping weeds thrived, like the sorrow within. Silas's parents. Their end was abrupt, unspoken. The official report was an accident, but no one believed it. Not really. The manor had a way of claiming its own, of twisting fates, of ensuring the Raventon line remained steeped in its particular brand of misery. Silas never spoke of them. Their portraits hung in the grand hall. Their eyes seemed to follow you, accusing, mournful, trapped within the canvas, trapped within the house, forever. Their whispers joined the chorus of the lost. The very air inside was thick, oppressive. It pressed down on you, making each breath a conscious effort. The silence was a living thing, broken only by the house itself, the groan of ancient timbers, the sigh of the wind through broken panes, the scuttling in the walls. Was it rats or something else? Something less natural? Raventon was a tomb, a beautifully decaying tomb, and its dead were not at rest. They walked, they waited. They whispered their endless woe into the cold, unfeeling stones. My carriage wheels crunched on the gravel drive, the sound unnaturally loud in the oppressive silence. Raventon Manor rose before me, more imposing, more terrifying than any story had prepared me for. It was a beast of stone and shadow, its windows like vacant eyes, staring, judging. I felt a tremor of pure, unadulterated fear, a primal urge to turn back, to flee. But Silas's plea echoed in my mind. The bond of blood, however tainted, however cursed, it held me there. The massive oak door creaked open, slowly, as if with great effort. Silas stood in the dim doorway, a shadow himself. He was thinner than I remembered. His eyes, those Raventon eyes, were hollow, haunted. He offered no warm welcome, only a curt nod. "Callen," he said, his voice a dry rasp, like autumn leaves skittering across a tombstone. "You came." As if he doubted anyone ever would. Or perhaps, as if he regretted the invitation already. The air that escaped the house was cold, musty, carrying the scent of ages, and something else, something faintly sweet, and deeply unsettling. Stepping inside was like stepping into another world, a world where time had stopped, or perhaps where it looped endlessly, repeating its tragedies. Dust lay thick on everything, like a funeral shroud. Cobwebs draped the ornate chandeliers like ghostly veils. The silence within was different, heavier, more aware. I felt unseen eyes upon me, from the portraits lining the hall, from the darkened corners, from the very walls themselves. This house was alive, and it did not welcome me. It observed. It waited. Silas led me through cavernous rooms, each one colder than the last. The furniture was draped in white sheets, like sleeping ghouls. He spoke little. His words were clipped, avoiding my gaze. He seemed afraid of the silence, yet more afraid of breaking it with the wrong words. The chill in the air was not just physical. It was a chill of the soul, a permeating dread that settled deep in my bones. I knew then, this was no ordinary house. This was a place of profound sorrow, a place where nightmares were born. We ascended the grand staircase. Its wood groaned under our weight, each step an echo in the vast emptiness. Silas paused on the second-floor landing. He turned to me, his face pale in the gloom. His eyes, for the first time, held a flicker of something other than despair. Fear, stark and raw. "There is one place, Callen," he began, his voice barely above a whisper. "One room you must never enter." His gaze flickered upwards, towards the unseen third floor. The shadows there seemed deeper, more menacing. "The third floor," he continued, his breath catching. "At the end of the east wing, there is a locked room. He fumbled for words, as if the mere mention of it was a transgression. It has been locked for generations, for good reason. What reason? I wanted to ask. But the look on his face silenced me. It was a look of primal terror, the look of a man who has stared into the abyss, and seen the abyss stare back. The air around us grew colder, a sudden draft, though no windows were open. "Promise me, Callen," Silas implored. His hand gripped my arm, his fingers icy, desperate. "Promise me you will not go near it, no matter what you hear, no matter what you think you see." His voice cracked. "Some doors are best left unopened. Some secrets are best left buried." He spoke of a family curse, a darkness tied specifically to that room, a presence that had destroyed others who had dared to seek it out. His words hung in the air, heavy, suffocating, a clear, undeniable warning. I nodded. What else could I do? The fear in his eyes was contagious. It seeped into me, cold and sharp. The third floor, the locked room. Even the words seemed to carry a chill, a sense of profound wrongness. I promised. But even as I did, a sliver of morbid curiosity took root. A tiny, insistent voice, questioning, daring. Silas seemed to sense it. He released my arm, his shoulders slumped, as if the warning itself had drained him. "Good," he whispered. Some things are not meant to be disturbed." Section 5. Descent into Darkness, the First Terrifying Night. Night fell on Raventon like a velvet shroud, thick, impenetrable. The darkness outside was absolute. No moon, no stars, only the sighing wind, and the oppressive presence of the manor itself. Silas retired early, leaving me alone in my assigned chamber. A vast, cold room, dominated by a massive four-poster bed, draped in heavy, faded tapestries. The silence was broken only by the frantic beating of my own heart. And then, the sounds began. Faint at first, almost imperceptible. A floorboard creaking overhead on the third floor. I lay in bed, staring into the oppressive blackness. Sleep was impossible. Every nerve was taut, strained, listening. The creaks became more insistent, like footsteps, slow, deliberate, pacing back and forth directly above me. Then a whisper, so soft I almost convinced myself I'd imagined it. A woman's voice, laden with sorrow, calling a name I did not recognize. But the sound, it slid under my skin, cold and unwelcome. I pulled the covers tighter, as if they could offer any real protection. The temperature in the room began to drop, noticeably. My breath plumed in the air. A chill deeper than the night seeped from the walls, from the floor. It was unnatural, malevolent. The scent I'd noticed earlier, faintly sweet, like cloying, decaying flowers. It grew stronger, mingled with the dust and age. My heart pounded in my ears, a frantic drum against the suffocating silence. The footsteps overhead stopped. For a moment, I dared to hope. Then, a soft, dragging sound, as if something heavy was being pulled across the floor. I wanted to scream, to run, to flee this cursed house, but fear held me captive, pinned me to the bed. My eyes darted around the darkened room, searching for a source, for an explanation. There was none, only the suffocating darkness and the certainty that I was not alone, not truly alone. The house was awake, its occupants were stirring, and they knew I was there. The first night, and already, Raventon was tightening its icy grip, pulling me deeper into its shadowy embrace, its ancient, sorrowful heart. The next day brought no relief, only a gray, listless dawn. The terrors of the night clung to me like the manor's ever-present dust. Silas was nowhere to be seen. I wandered the echoing halls alone. Each portrait seemed to watch me, their painted eyes filled with silent accusation. Or perhaps pity. The house felt different in the daylight, not less frightening but more expectant, as if it were waiting for me to make a move, to break some unspoken rule, to venture where I was forbidden. The whispers returned, even in the thin light of day, softer now, more insidious, winding their way into my thoughts. They seemed to emanate from the very walls, from the air itself. Little sighs of sorrow, fragments of forgotten conversations, a child's whimper, a woman's sob. They tugged at my sanity, made me question what was real, what was imagined. The pull towards the third floor grew stronger. An unhealthy curiosity, a morbid fascination with Silas's warning, with the locked room. I found myself drifting towards the grand staircase, my feet moving as if of their own accord. The air grew colder with each upward step, the silence more profound, more menacing. I remembered Silas's terrified face, his desperate plea, but the house whispered otherwise. It beckoned. It promised secrets. It promised answers to questions I hadn't even dared to form. The third floor. It felt like the epicenter of Raventon's gloom, the source of its ancient pain, the heart of its darkness. I fought the urge for a time. I tried to busy myself exploring the dusty library, the decaying conservatory. But everywhere I went, I felt it. The oppressive weight, the unseen eyes, the soft, sorrowful whispers. They were a constant reminder of the locked room, of the secrets it held. The house was breathing, inhaling my courage, exhaling its icy fear. It was a living entity, and it was slowly, inexorably drawing me towards its most forbidden chamber, towards the terror it guarded so jealously. As twilight bled into another suffocating night, the manor's true nature unfurled. The unseen presences grew bolder, no longer content with mere whispers or subtle creaks. I was in the long gallery, staring at a faded tapestry depicting some forgotten Raventon tragedy when it happened. A gust of wind swept through the closed room, extinguishing the flickering candles, plunging me into sudden, chilling darkness. My breath hitched, my heart hammered against my ribs. I fumbled for matches, my hands shaking too violently. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Not overhead this time, but in the gallery with me. Slow, deliberate, coming closer. I froze, unable to move, unable to scream. The air turned frigid, so cold it burned my skin. I could feel it, a presence standing right before me. I could sense its cold gaze, its ancient sorrow, its hunger. A soft sigh brushed my ear, a woman's sigh, full of despair. Then a whisper, my name, Callen. So close, so terrifyingly close. I could smell that cloying, sweet scent again, stronger than ever. A small porcelain doll on a nearby table rattled. Then slowly it turned its head to look at me, its painted eyes wide, its smiling lips suddenly grotesque. I stumbled back, a strangled cry escaping my lips. The footsteps retreated, fading into the oppressive silence. The coldness lingered, a palpable entity in the room. I finally found the matches, lit a candle with trembling fingers. The doll was still, its head facing forward, as if nothing had happened. But I knew, I had seen it. The spirits were no longer just stirring, they were reaching out. Later, I saw her, or a glimpse of her. A fleeting shadow at the end of a corridor, a flash of white, a woman, tall and gaunt, her hair long and dark. She vanished before I could truly see her face, but the image burned itself into my mind. The sorrow emanating from her was a physical blow. Who was she? One of the lost Raventons? One of the secrets trapped within these walls? The house was showing me its inhabitants, its true spectral family, and their pain was becoming my own. The pull was irresistible now. The whispers were louder, more insistent, calling me, guiding me, towards the third floor, towards the locked room. Silas's warning echoed faintly, a distant, fading voice against the chorus of the house. Sleep offered no escape, only nightmares reflecting the manor's sorrow, its hidden rage. I knew I had to face it. Whatever lay behind that door, I had to know. The house demanded it. My sanity depended on it, or perhaps its destruction. I found myself standing before it. The locked room at the end of the east wing. The wood of the door was ancient, scarred. The lock old and rusted. The air here was thick with a palpable sense of dread, colder than anywhere else in the manor. It felt like standing on the edge of a precipice, one step from an abyss of unknown horrors. My hand trembled as I reached for the doorknob. It was icy cold. Against all reason, against Silas's desperate plea, I turned it. It was unlocked, or had it always been? Waiting. The room within was dark, but not empty. As my eyes adjusted, I saw them. Figures, pale, translucent, huddled in the corners. A woman weeping silently, her face a mask of unimaginable grief. A man, his features contorted in anger and pain. And children, small frightened shadows, their eyes wide with eternal terror. The cloying sweet scent was overpowering here, the source of it. Decaying flowers on a small, dust-covered vanity. And something else. The metallic tang of old blood. The spirits turned, their sorrowful eyes fixing on me. They did not speak in words, but their story flooded my mind. A torrent of images, betrayal, murder, unspeakable cruelty, committed within these very walls. Within this room, Josiah Raventon, his dark deeds, his victims, trapped here, their agony an endless loop. The woman raised a spectral hand, pointing, not at me, but past me, towards the door. A warning, or an accusation. Then, a blood-curdling scream. Not from them, but from behind me. Silas, his face a mask of horror. You fool, he shrieked. You've doomed us all. The room plunged into icy blackness. What happened next? It's a blur, a maelstrom of terror. The screams, Silas's, mine, the spectral figures surging forward, their cold touch, an agony beyond words. The darkness was absolute. The chilling whispers became a roar, a cacophony of tormented souls. I felt myself falling, pulled down into an icy abyss. Raventon Manor. It had finally claimed me, as it had claimed so many others before. Silas. What became of Silas? I never knew. Perhaps he too was consumed. Another Raventon soul tethered to that cursed place. They say Callen simply vanished, disappeared without a trace, like mist on a winter morning. The authorities searched. Of course they did. They found an empty house, dust and silence. The locked room on the 3rd floor, it was locked again, as if it had never been opened, as if I had never stood on its threshold, as if I had never witnessed its horrors. But the locals, they knew. They whispered my name now, added it to the long list of Raventon's victims. Another ghost to haunt its shadowed halls. Raventon Manor still stands, a monument to sorrow and fear. Its windows like vacant eyes, staring out at a world that dares not look back. Some say, on quiet nights, you can still hear the whispers, the footsteps, the faint chilling screams. They say a new light sometimes appears in a 3rd floor window, a soft, mournful glow. Is it me? Am I one of them now, trapped in that endless cycle of pain, a part of Raventon's haunting legacy? I cannot say. I only feel the cold. So if you ever find yourself on that winding, forgotten road, if you see the dark silhouette of Raventon against the bruised sky, do not approach. Do not listen to its mournful sighs or its tempting whispers. Turn back. Flee. For the manor is always waiting, always hungry. Its doors may seem closed, but for some, they are always open, waiting to welcome another soul into its chilling, eternal embrace. Feel the shiver? That's Raventon, calling to you, waiting, always waiting.